Hey, this is the video ranking the D clan members, how powerful they are. Considering hockey, everything. Um, so let's start from the bottom. There's 14 of them, right? The ones that I found. One of these people, I was like, what? Yo, he's a D member? You'll find out. But number 14 is Portgas D. She is Ace's mother. Not too much is known about Portgas D. As she was one of Gold Roger's flings, but not just a fling, because she gave way to Ace's existence, right? She was able to, and this is the impressive thing about her, hold Ace inside of her stomach for I believe 20 months. You know how a pregnancy is only 9 months. It takes 9 months for the baby to form and the woman and all that extra stuff. She was able to hold Ace inside of her for a long time. And she did that because they knew that Gold Roger had a kid on the way, and they were on a witch hunt for this woman. They were like, she hasn't given birth yet, and other things. But she died at childbirth, with Ace. But she had pink hair. She was, I don't know. She was a beautiful woman. That's what I saw. But that not much is known about her, and she was a D clan member though. Then there's Cobra at number 13. Cobra D Nefatari, the King of Alabaster. As King of Alabaster, he kind of just, man, he was sitting down on his ass a lot. He gave orders. Some of these orders, turned, the country against him and other things. He got saved by Luffy and his daughter because she was recruiting them to help her out. He went to the reverie, and because of his decisions, the warlord system got abolished. And the warlords were like no more, obsolete because of Seraphine. They came into the mix. He then also got killed by Emu. He went to her or him. It's probably a she though, because the way it's like voiced and everything. He asked, and he had balls to do this too. He said, my family has a D in its name. I never knew that until I looked into the history of our family, the Nefataris, that is. And he says, he goes to you, and he says this, he says this specifically, you know, what is the D? What is the D? And she explains what it means in terms of the world government. Essentially, it means that those people get in the way of what the government stands for and other things. The world government, they like to basically manipulate, brainwash people, make people fight against one another, enslave them. And it's a system that was created like 800 years ago and other things. But these people of the D clan like stood up against that and were, powerful people. And that's what, happened. And then Cobra got defeated. Well, he didn't fight. He's not a combative type. Um, he died. Just know that. But number 12 is then Lily D. Nefertari. See, not much is known about this girl, right? But she existed during those, the ancient times, before the government and other things. She's the reason why the poneglyphs exist. It leads to the One Piece. It was her, great work that made these poneglyphs necessary, or she created them, helped create them so that the future generations could read them and find, what they needed to find out about the history of the world and everything else. People of Ohara and all that. And that leads me into, and not much is known about her yet. But she was, Nefertari, lineage. She was like the, person who like started that like bloodline and shit, in Alabasta and other things, and also put the poneglyphs places help with the poneglyphs. This person, I didn't know that he was a D member. But his name is Cloud D. Clover, Dr. Clover from O'Hara. You live and you learn some shit, y'all. This is for all One Piece fans if they didn't know already. Clover is a D clan member. He was an archaeologist, but he was a pirate too. He liked to hunt down, ancient things and like seek old knowledge and like have that for the world to know. And he created the island of O'Hara with other scholars, and they collaborated together, and they were uncovering all kinds of things about the world government. And it was in him to do that because of the D in his name. Personally, I didn't know that he was D clan member. I just knew that he knew about things, you know, because they were scholars. They like to look into the past and travel the globe and get information about things, uncover things that have been, hidden and other stuff. Um, Clover is number 11 because, like I said, he used to be a pirate back in his youth. And then I have to assume he knows some skills too. But when they came to O'Hara that day, he was met with, a gunshot to the head. And he had died. He had knew all kind of shit. He taught Nico Robin, Luffy's archaeologist, knows how to read the poneglyphs, and so he taught her all that. And he's at number 11. And number 10 is Vivi Nefatari. Vivi D Nefatari. She is the princess of Alabasta right now, basically about to be queen because her, father died. He's deceased. They wanted to kill her too, but she was saved. She is an honorary Straw Hat member. She was with the Straw Hats during, the Alabasta arc. See, Igaram told them to keep Vivi safe as she was infiltrating Baroque works to stop Crocodile from taking over her country, figuring out, what he was trying to do, incite this war so that he could assert power over King Cobra and then rule over, what was left in the desert. And he almost had that shit, the way he wanted to. But thanks to her collaborating with and heeding calls to like helping out, or well, they were heeding calls to helping her out. The Straw Hat Pirates, they were like, this is our friend Vivi. She's been with us since Little Garden and Drum Kingdom and all that. She can hold down with her little earring thingies. She like attacks people. Um, she attacked like one of the like Baroque agents in the tower. She's like wanted to stop the bomb that was in the tower. Pell went to save her because Pell is like one of her guards, and I don't know, Pell Pell should have died during that, but he's a guy and shit, and he survived. Um, he and or she has those guys. She has Pell and Shaka, or yeah, and Igaram as well. But they're like in Alabasta and other things. She is somewhere else, you know. But she has skills to hold down. She was with Broke Works for a little bit. And that's on, and she was with the Straw Hats too. Honorary Straw Hat member. She has the X to prove it. They put the X on, and that happened. Now for the rest of the top 10, I had to like not do this, man. I have to like do it in the middle of I'm sorry for the people out there who wanted me to fucking do this before, but I got y'all. Don't worry about it. I am a One Piece fan like that. He's watching me, girl. Y'all watching me. Yeah, he can have some if he wants to, but We're doing that right now. In the middle of the video, transforming into my true One Piece self, animated self. Ah. You want to get dumb with me? Out here on the corner? I'll get dumb right back. Some style too. Sorry about not having the other stuff, y'all, but we are gonna continue this video. D-Clan members. Um, okay, number 9 is Jaguar D. Saul. Jaguar D. Saul was there the day that O'Hara was destroyed. He was a admiral in the Marines. Not an admiral, my bad. Rear admiral in the Marines. From what I remember. He was similar to Garp. But he found out that the government was like going after like people who were basically innocent. They weren't really doing anything, like they weren't doing shit that like real pirates do. Like they weren't like attacking people and looting from places and doing shit like that. They were just after information, and they were going to like certain places getting information. And he met Olvia. Olvia was Nico Robin's mother, and he said, you know, I don't like how they're treating you guys. I'll leave the Marines. I'm not a Marine no more. And he left. He got to the island of O'Hara. Well, he washed up there and he was like, this is O'Hara? Oh shit. I know because I used to be a part of, the world government as a Marine. Like they're gonna be here and they're gonna try to destroy everything. You guys gotta get the fuck out of here and stuff. That day, Ovia came back and Clover was like, you got information for us. And about like the government and other things. And she was like, yes, this is this. But that day, Cypherpole agents pulled up, and the girl say called, or well, they called in the bus calling them, 5 vice admirals in the fleets guiding them, or the ones that they were guiding came and destroyed O'Hara and shit burned down. But Jaguar D. Saul, he got frozen by Aokiji, who was then a vice admiral at that time. Aokiji frozen, but Jaguar D. Saul still survived. Shaka, the one who is Vegapunk, one of the Vegapunks enlightened Robin to that Jaguar D. Saul was still alive, but he's in hiding and shit because, of course, he was at O'Hara and other things. The government likes to play games with Dick too much, so that's what happened. So at number 8, this is where the real powerhouse is coming in. Portgas D Ace, the son of Gol D and the son of Portgas D Rouge, but he, he always knew that he wanted to be a pirate too, not just because of his dad, but because of that. He had it in him. That's the D, freedom. Now these people stand for being free and then showing other people how to like have fun and go after what they want to do too. Essentially, and that's why these celestial dragons hate them so much. And he said, "All right, I, Portgas D Ace, am gonna become a pirate." Sabo and Luffy then were like, "Yo, we'll follow you. We want to become pirates too." And they all drank sake together, and he left to become a pirate. Ace becomes a pirate and starts to spade pirates, and he's out on his journey, a supernova. Then, people then start saying, oh, maybe he should become a warlord and other things. But then he's like, no, he turns down the offer, and he fights against Jinbei, who's actually a warlord. And he fights him for 10 days straight. Then after he fights Jinbei, he fights against Whitebeard. His whole crew gets, destroyed. But he's like, there's no, Whitebeard's like, there's no need to, run away from me, son. You have your life ahead of you. Come and run with us. My flag will be yours, and you'll be one of my sons. And, Ace joined, but then he was still, like, kind of upset because he lost everything he had worked. He tried to attack Whitebeard many times and it didn't work. And he just ended up becoming a part of the crew, and he became second division commander. Then Thatch died because Blackbeard got away. Well, he got away with the Devil Fruit, and then Ace was like, this is like uncalled for. He can't do that shit to our crew members. I'll go get him. I'll kill the bastard who killed one of our crew members. Then he fights against Blackbeard and gets caught by Blackbeard. As Blackbeard then became a warlord of the sea, it was strategic for him. But Marineford War happens. Ace does get free. Flame fruit on display. He stops out Kiji's little iceberg. But shit changed when Akahime pulled up. He saw Luffy and Ace, and he was like, I need to stop the next generation of pirates from running around and doing all this stuff. I'm a Marine, I'll kill everybody. I'll kill both of them. And Ace was like hearing all this shit talking coming out of Akahime's mouth about Whitebeard being washed up and everything else. And he couldn't stand for it. So he went after him. And he ended up dying trying to save Luffy. A hole through his chest and other things, but Ace's will lives on inside of the flame fruit, now held by Salvo, but he's not being talked about in this video. And at number 7 I have Trafalgar D Water Law. Trafalgar Law is a D clan member as well. He was orphaned because of some disease that hit his place young. Then Doflamingo found him. He's like, boy, you don't have long to live. You might as well work for me until the day you die. It's cool. He was, with Doflamingo and them. But he met a guy named Corazon. Corazon became like a big brother to Trafalgar Law. Well, Trafalgar D Water Law, if you're using his full name. And eventually, Corazon gives him the dough fruit called the op fruit, which was a prize dough fruit. Like he was going for some bills, like some money, boy. And he ate it, and he was like, stay inside of that chest, because what's gonna happen, you ain't gonna like. And then Corazon died, and then Ace, well not Ace, but Law was sad. Then like years later, he becomes one of the supernovas. He meets Luffy and Kid, and they became his like rivals and shit. And he was like, I'm going to the New World. I'm gonna find the One Piece. I'm on the same fucking journey as y'all. And eventually he then becomes a warlord too. He to become a warlord though, he gave like the government like a whole bunch of hearts. And they wanted the immunity so they weren't on his dick so much. But then like the warlord system got abolished anyways. So he joined Straw Hat. They joined up to fight against Kaido and Big Mom. And he was like, Luffy was like, yeah, that sounds alright. And because at that point in the story, Traffy had none of his crew members behind him. And he was all by himself. Then he went and he took down, he tried to take down Doflamingo. It was Luffy that did, but, Law was there and, to back him up a little bit. And he was another doctor too, for the crew or the alliance at that point. They're like, we're going to go to Wano and stop Kaido. And then Kaido and Big Mom started forming an alliance. And then, they were like, okay, and Law fought against Big Mom with the Kid. And he got himself some fucking, real fucking hype with a 3 billion berry bounty. But then he went to Winter Island and he fought against Blackbeard. Blackbeard, I believe, took his poneglyphs, or wanted his poneglyphs, wanted his Delphi too, I think. But Beppo saved him. Nothing's known about where Law is or anything yet. But he's still alive. He's a D-Clan member. He can't die. not after what happened to other people. He's like he's trying to like learn things about the world, similar to Nico Robin and shit. He's a smart guy. Traffy is, so he's like even if I don't go after the One Piece necessarily, I'm still gonna figure out what the fuck things mean, because like people are trying to like cover shit up and it's not cool. Um, and number 6, I have Monkey D. Garp. Monkey D. Garp became a Marine young, and he was like, that's what he wanted to do, and he did it full-heartedly. However, Garp was also smart enough to know that the government would like have him like become like he became one of the best Marines, right? He fought at a place called God Valley against Rock Xebec and the Rock's Pirates with Go Roger, and he became known as Garp the Fist. At that point, they were considering him for an admiral position, but then he was like, no, he turned them down. He said, I'll be a vice admiral forever. I'll train up the next generation of Marines and everything, but I won't be an admiral. And why I say that? Because he didn't want to be a lackey to the Celestial Dragons. So basically, anything that happens to them, anything happens to a Celestial Dragon, they call in an admiral. And he doesn't agree with the Celestial Dragon. He just likes being a Marine and protecting people from bad pirates, or pirates in general. He always hunted down Gold Roger. He was like Gold Roger's like rival as far as the Marines go. He was the one who took Gold Roger in to his execution. Then he was left with the responsibility of watching over Ace, and then also he had to watch over Luffy too. But he put that on the Don because he's a Navy Vice Admiral. He always told Ace and Luffy he didn't want them to become pirates and shit. They still became pirates, and he was like, these guys are like just, I didn't want that for them. He kept telling himself that I didn't want that for him. I didn't want that for him. When Ace died, he was struck. It struck a chord with him. He was like, I want to kill Akainu. I want to see him dead. But then he was like, you know what? Whatever, I guess. Ace did what he did and other stuff. But now, I have Kobe still at least. And he's actually, somebody my grandson knows. And also, if my grandson won't fucking do it, then this guy will do it, and this guy will follow my orders. And he actually, eventually, Kobe gets caught by Blackbeard, and Garp goes to Hachinosu to like save his disciple, and then uses Galaxy Impact. He fucks it up on the island, but he ends up getting caught by Blackbeard. See, Garp never had any devil fruit. He had hockey. Very proficient in armament hockey specifically. He used to hit battle boats, and he taught Aokiji how to do armament hockey better. And he's like very powerful with that shit, and he has conquered hockey as well. But he taught Kobe some like armament hockey moves, and he was able to use Honesty Impact to destroy some shit on Egghead. Oh, not Egghead. My bad. Hachinosu as well. And now Garp is, I don't know, deceased or something. They can only assume what's going on with Garp. We'll find out eventually, but he's at number 6. At number 5, I have Blackbeard himself, the big bad Blackbeard, Marshall D. Teach. Marshall D. Teach. He is a guy that is dangerous. He turned the world upside down and shit one day. First, he became part of Whitebeard's crew. He's part of Whitebeard's crew. He killed Thatch, and then he took the devil fruit called the Yami Yami Nui. He accumulated a crew of Von Auger and Jesus Burgess and Doc Q and Lafitte, and then he got more members eventually. After he caught Ace slipping with the Dark fruit, Ace couldn't hold down against that shit. So he went to the government and said, hey, man, I caught this guy. Make me a warlord real quick. And he did. He went into Impel Down, and he was like, yo, I want to free some of you guys out of here, and we can make a crew, and, we can take over the world together. It's fun, right? And then they were like, yeah, let me out. He got some of the people from Impel Down, like the ones from the bottom level, and even the former, like, guy who used to work there. and Shiryu swore loyalty to Blackbeard too. See, he has the D, and he's a true pirate, unlike other people. He kills people. He'll run over anybody to get to the top, and he's like, I'm gonna become the king of the pirates. I drink rum and all that shit. He does everything that a real pirate does. And then at the War of the Best, he showed up late, and he's like, yeah, let me spin the word on their head, put it on their head. Um, I have two devil fruits now. You can't, fuck with me. Fucking with me is like fucking with, God, basically. You guys gotta like stand the fuck down, like any of y'all. And they were like, damn, this fucker has two devil fruits now. This shit is like uncalled for. Nobody's seen shit like this before. And after that happened, um, he took Whitebeard's spot as one of the four emperors of the sea, and he took over, Hachinosu, and he was there, and he has a whole fleet with him, and even Aokiji swore allegiance to him too. He has the ability to pull people in just like these other guys, but in a different way. Um, some people in the community don't know about Blackbeard and his abilities, but I'm like, yeah, he's number 5 on this list, as far as power goes and all that shit. And he has two devil fruits. That shit's like, we haven't heard of anybody else eating two devil fruits. He's doing shit that like other people haven't done. That shit needs to be, talked about. And number 4 is Straw Hat Luffy, Monkey D. Luffy himself. Monkey D. Luffy is, the main character of the story. I already made the Life of Luffy video. But he's going after being king of the pirates, but he does it in a way that, like, he frees people. See, he has the sun god Nika fruit. And Nika was a god that was a deity that, rose, and he's the sun. It brings smile to people's faces. Drums of Liberation happened. Joy Boy was a guy from back in the day who, like, brought people together, and he did it in a more peaceful manner, bringing people together, and he had people follow him. He attracted people to him and everything. They loved him, and he did that shit. And Luffy was like, okay, Luffy just always been like that too. He got his crew together, and he was like, I don't need all these people, but I need my crew members to know that I need them. I need them for this and this, and they're gonna have to dislike what I do. Even if I do some dumb shit, they're still there for me. Luffy was, going through, defeating, people like Crocodile, Arlong. He freed Nami's village from Arlong. He freed Usopp's village from a fucking guy named Korra. He helped Sanji out, the Baratie. Like, every crew member of his crew, he helped out. He saved them, and then, they joined his crew. He saved Nico Robin from getting her head chopped off. And she didn't do anything wrong. It's just the government playing games with people's dicks. And he's like, that's my crew member. I don't care about none of that extra stuff. You took somebody who's important to me. I'm getting that shit back. You leave my girl alone. And he did that. And he also, faced, downfalls too. He got his crew, like, taken from him. Basically, they got sent other places, and then he was like, okay, well, I have my brother. And then, his brother dies in front of him, and then he's like all fucking, distraught and everything. But Jinbei comes to his rescue and says, yo, who do you still have to live for, man? There's still people out here and shit. And Luffy's like, yeah, my crew. And then he trains with Rayleigh for a year, and then when he comes back, he's like, ooh, pss, 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 dodging fucking pacifist bullets like they're nothing, putting them in the ground. Conquers hawking 50,000 fishmen like it's nothing. And then, eventually fighting against Doflamingo, who's also fucking with people. But before that, he freed, kids from Punk Hazard and all kind of shit. Like, he's always freeing other people. He don't like seeing people being fucked with. He catches wind of that, and he's like, you know what, we might have to stay here and, help these people out. Because I don't like that. I'm a free person. I would not want other people to not be that way. And if somebody's fucking with them, that's not cool. So then that's Luffy, right? And he gets to Wano and he almost dies, but then the Drums of Liberation happen and Gear 5 comes out. And, Gear 5, Sun got Nika for him. The true nature of his Devil Fruit awakening, and he defeats Kaido and frees Wano. But that was also him becoming one of the four emperors of the sea, and one step closer to becoming king of the pirates. Luffy is gonna become the king, y'all. I'm gonna become famous for talking about Luffy becoming king of the pirates. I was like, cool. 'Cause wealth, fame, and power, y'all. And I'm getting to that part. Number 3 though, I have Dragon. I think Dragon's still stronger than Luffy at this point. See, Dragon has the government on his dick. He's known as the most wanted person in the world, because he goes against the world government directly, the Celestial Dragons directly. He doesn't like how they're enslaving people and fucking with people and making the Marines do this to these people, and people are just blindly following that shit. And he's like, no, we will free this world. We will stop these Celestial Dragons from their like heathenous acts against people and shit. The people of the world. He has a whole bunch of people from all over. He has a fishman on his, revolutionary crew. He has Sabo. He has Koala, who was freed by fishermen in Fishikaga. He has, he had Kuma. He had Emporio Volkov. You know, these people he started the revolutionary army with them. But then Kuma then had to leave because he wanted to save his daughter and shit. And Dragon understood, but he couldn't be there for Luffy because he was fighting a great enemy, and he didn't want Luffy to have people on his dick. So he was like, well, I have to stay away from my son. But he saved his son from Smoker. That was the flex at the beginning of the series. Then he was also doing other things. He hasn't done too much. He hasn't made moves himself, but he gives the orders and other things. Monkey D. Dragon, I think he's a force to be reckoned with. I think he is stronger than Luffy right now. More powerful. His devil fruit. He has a devil fruit power. He has to, because like when he comes in and shit, the wind comes. It's been seen and stuff, y'all. Now number 2 is Rock D. Xebec. Rock D. Xebec was a guy who started the Rocks Pirates, and these are the people he had under him. Let me just name a few: Whitebeard, Big Mom, Kaido, Shiki, the Golden Lion, Wang Shi, Davy Jones, I think his name was. Like, goddamn, he had fucking like real fucking pirates on his side, and he was the one who led that group. To pull in those fucking people, like these people then became 4 emperors of the sea. Well, in Kaido, Big Mom, and Whitebeard, and they were following and heeding calls to this man right here called Rox D. Xebec. And he was like, we're gonna go against the world and other things. He was a guy that I believe he saw, and everybody else does too. He saw the like atrocities that the government was doing and other things. He went to God Valley where, the Celestial Dragons rule, and they do stuff there. Celestial Dragon fashion. They do fucked up shit there. Narratives are written by the Celestial Dragons and the world government though, and they said that Gold Roger and Monkey D. Garp were the reason why God Valley was saved and other things. Because they teamed up against him. But, there's more to the story than just that. And Roxy Xebec, he met his end there and other things. And that happened, like, in, like, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Shanks was a baby during that time. Somewhere along the way, he was found by Gold Roger and shit. And then that's where number 1 is. Gold Roger is number 1. The most powerful D-Clan member. Gold Roger, he had the hat. He had the straw hat, just like Joy Boy. And he was like, he's found Rayleigh one day, and he was like, hey, I want to go on an adventure. I think you should join me. And he was like, what? You? I don't know. And I was like, yeah, you're gonna join me. And he was like, okay. And then he joined him, and they got a whole crew together. Scapa Gaban, and another fishman named Sunbell, and some other people too. Shanks was picked up by Gold Roger as a infant, and also Buggy was too. They were cabin boys on that crew. And then Roger fought against Garp, and he fought against Whitebeard on many occasions. But Gold Roger was interested in finding the One Piece, the legendary treasure that was the last island. And he went his whole days looking for these poneglyphs, and he found all of them. But he had Odin from Wano, and Odin was able to read in the ancient texts and other things. He etched in Skypian's poneglyph that he was there and other things, and that you need to know that Gold Roger has been here. And this is what we know about this and that. And they were there. They went and they found the One Piece. He found it. And when he found the One Piece, um, they were like, Gold Roger found the last island, and he sailed the whole seas. So he's now king of the pirates. Nobody's ever done shit like that. And they were like, they were on his dick then, for real. He has the highest bounty in One Piece known and shit. And they were like, he had a disease and stuff. So he was like, I'll take myself in. Garp can catch me and nothing. Keep care of my son. And then Gold Roger had that famous speech. He was like, you want my treasure? You can have it. I left it all gathered in one place. Now you just have to find it. And that kicked off the Great Pirate Era, where all these pirates are now looking for the One Piece, like Gold Roger. But only a certain guy, a certain young man named, with the straw hat and, a smile on his face can actually, find that shit. That's what you guys gotta know. It's like, cool. And the four guys who are after it now, Luffy is like, looking all right for finding it. Not all right. He's looking fucking amazing for finding that shit, because he got some guy Nika form on now, y'all. He got cool. But that is the D Clan members, ranking of the D Clan members of One Piece. But I had cool. I'll catch y'all in that thing. It's like cool on the corner. Oh yeah, because that's it.